Hi, I'm John Prasinos, Editorial Director of Investing Daily. I'm also the Editor-in-Chief of our premium trading service, Marijuana Profit Alert. Welcome to my Weed Report for Tuesday, September 17. Lenny Bruce, the groundbreaking comedian, wrote in 1964, "Marijuana will be legal someday because the many law students who now smoke pot will someday become congressmen and legalize it in order to protect themselves. You wouldn't believe how many people smoke pot. If anyone reading this would like to become mayor, believe me, there is a vast untapped vote." Back then in 1964, marijuana was illegal everywhere in America and a social taboo. Branded a sick comic, the socially provocative Bruce was generally blacklisted from television. 60 years later, his insights have proved prescient, especially when it comes to pot. With legalization gaining traction around the world, canna businesses are positioned for substantial growth in 2025 and beyond. This election year in the United States is pivotal for the cannabis industry. Weed legalization initiatives are slated to appear before the voters on November 5 in several states around the country. Polls show that most of them are favored to pass. Here's a quick state-by-state roundup of what's at stake. Florida, adult use constitutional amendment. Florida voters will decide on a ballot measure legalizing the possession and retail sale of marijuana for adults. The measure allows adults 21 years or older to possess, purchase, or use marijuana products and marijuana accessories for non-medical personal consumption by smoking, ingestion, or otherwise, allows medical marijuana treatment centers and other state-licensed entities to acquire, cultivate, process, manufacture, sell, and distribute such products and accessories. Florida's measure is poised to pass, and it's popular in the polls, despite strong opposition from Governor Ron DeSantis. DeSantis, a far-right Republican who fared poorly in the GOP primaries, has seen his political influence wane as public sentiment shifts. Polls suggest that a majority of Floridians support legalizing recreational cannabis, driven by the potential for increased tax revenue and economic development. The marijuana initiative is expected to energize young liberal voters, potentially putting Florida into play for the Democrats in the 2024 election. This turnout boost could have a significant impact on both state and federal races, making Florida a key state to watch. Nebraska, two medical access initiatives. The first permits qualified patients to possess and use medical cannabis. The second measure regulates the production and distribution of medical cannabis to those authorized patients. Advocates had to frame the issue as two separate ballot questions in order to not run afoul of the state's, quote, single subject rule. North Dakota Adult Use Initiative. The measure permits adults 21 and older to engage in the personal possession of up to 1 ounce of flower, 4 grams of cannabis concentrates, and edible products with up to 300 milligrams, and the personal cultivation of up to 3 plants per person and 6 plants per household. It establishes rules and regulations for commercial enterprises to either produce, sell, and test cannabis. South Dakota Adult Use Initiative. South Dakota voters will decide on a ballot measure legalizing the possession and personal cultivation of marijuana by adults. The measure permits adults 21 and older to engage in the personal possession of up to 2 ounces of flower and 16 grams of cannabis concentrates and personal cultivation of up to 6 plants. It does not establish rules and regulations for commercial enterprises to either produce or sell cannabis. Arkansas. The proposed measure, Arkansas Medical Marijuana Amendment of 2024, amends the state's existing medical cannabis access law, which voters approved in 2016. Voters rejected an adult use legalization initiative in 2022. The measure expands the pool of practitioners who may recommend medical cannabis, and it permits providers to recommend cannabis to any patient who they believe will benefit from it, among other modifications. Separate provisions in the amendment authorize adults to legally possess up to 1 ounce of cannabis if the federal government deschedules it from the Controlled Substances Act. Massachusetts Psychedelics Initiative. In the Bay State, psychedelics is on the ballot. The state's Question 4 would allow the personal use of certain amounts of psychedelic substances and create a commission to tax and regulate them. The outcome of these initiatives will further define the future of marijuana policy in America. The stage is being set for a huge surge in marijuana investments. Take a look at this chart. As of September 2024, 38 states and the District of Columbia allow the medical use of cannabis products. Adult, i.e. recreational use, is allowed in 24 states and D.C. That means 48% of the total U.S. population lives in a state where recreational marijuana is legal and 26% in states where only medical marijuana is legal. If you combine the two categories, it translates into 74% of the population living in a state that has some sort of framework for legal pot. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to send me an email at mailbag@investingdaily.com.